The Red Spider arc is often said to be one of Gintama's weakest serious arcs, and the antagonist of the arc, Jiraia, is said by some to be one of Gintama's worst antagonists. And although I wouldn't say he is Gintama's best antagonist by any means, I still think he's a very nuanced and thematically important character, and so that today is what we shall explore. If you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell, as I cannot explain to you how much such a small action can do for this channel. And if you want to go the extra mile and support me even further, you can always check out my Patreon. Anyway, on with the video. Jiraia was one of the most skilled ninjas in Edo. As the leader of the Hyaka, he was feared and respected. However, he was unfeeling, as deep down he had a philosophy, a personal philosophy that was twisted and cruel. As he told Tsukuyo, you cannot protect something while worrying about yourself, as devotion can only come from sacrificing the self. Jiraia lived by these beliefs, not due to some profound realization or some divine epiphany. Instead, he did so for no other reason than to run away from the pain he felt inside. Jiraia was born as Tobita Danzo, to a family of samurai in Iga. The area was a place of constant conflict, and with such a talented eldest son ready to take over as head of the family, the enemies of the Tobita clan grew scared and angry. As such, the whole family, bar Danzo and his younger sister, were slaughtered, with his sister being used as a hostage so that those who killed their family could use him as a tool, as a human weapon. Which he did. He felt humiliation, shame and pain as he did it, but he became the dog of those that killed his family. But these feelings were too much for him, and so he developed a coping mechanism. He started not to feel. He threw away his identity as the son of the Tobita clan so that he wouldn't have to feel the pain of betraying his family, and by doing this over and over, by throwing away his feelings again and again, he became like a robot, a killing machine with no feelings. He did this so that he wouldn't feel the burden of betraying his family, but by doing so he drove away the one last family member he had left. As his sister couldn't stand to see what had become of her brother, and so committed suicide, she set him free by dying, but also severed the one last thread that tied him to the Tobita clan. He became a legendary ninja, one without feelings, an unfeeling killing machine. He burnt his face beyond recognition to throw away his identity, and to be able to better disguise himself, so he could be anyone else so that he would never have to be himself. He was known to be loyal to a fault, much like a samurai, but that was all part of his act, as Jiraia was a spider, and the prey that ended up in his web didn't even know it till it was too late. He had no loyalty, no connection. He killed his comrades, tried to kill the shogun, his lord. There was no one he cared for, and that was by design. As at the end of the day, he threw away his emotions and his identity so he wouldn't have to feel any pain or shame. He was too scared of the pain, so he ran away, so far that he left his own self behind. It hurts to lose a loved one, so maybe it would be better if they never loved you to start with. That's the rabbit hole of thought Jiraia went down, and that's what birthed this ugly mindset. He was just trying to grieve, but not by processing it properly or by forgetting about it, but by acting like it never happened to begin with. However, no matter what, you can never rid yourself of emotions completely, and so Jiraia saw someone like him, and he felt a connection. No matter what Jiraia may have said, he did care for Tsukuyo. For the first time since his sister died, he had someone he wanted to protect. So in order to ensure that, he taught her everything he knew so that she wouldn't feel the pain or shame he once did. He planned to make her unfeeling before she ever felt grief at all. He taught her not to form connections, to throw away her identity, as only then would she be able to be a true protector, as in his mind you can't protect something 100% if you have some emotional connection to it. As feelings bring emotions and they bring compromise. If you're burdened by emotions, you can't give protecting your all. At least that's what he spouted. In truth, he just didn't want her to get hurt, and he genuinely thought this was the best way to do so. His whole mindset though is flawed. He scarred his face to throw away his identity, but by doing so his scarred face became the one way people identified him. He raised his successor to pass on his teachings, but in the process of doing so he grew to care for her and so completely contradicted his own beliefs. Nothing Jiraia did made sense, it was all flawed, and that's kind of the point. Saying that his plan makes no sense doesn't make him a badly written antagonist, as it's not meant to make sense, and that's because at the simplest level, his ideology is wrong. To throw away connection, your own self, is not the way to protect something, as if you do all that, then there simply won't be anything for you to protect. And Jiraia subconsciously knows this, and that's why his plan falls apart at the seams, as it's not possible to go on protecting while following his ideals. If you do so, then your attempt will just fall apart, like flakes of skin off an already scarred face. A true samurai is someone who protects what they cherish with all their heart. And that's why a samurai will never back down, where even when their master is killed, they don't give up. As they have emotions, they have feelings. Samurai fight because of emotion, because they know who they are and so know what they need to protect. Jiraia though didn't get this, or maybe he did, but like everything else he just ran away. He failed to protect his sister, and so instead of getting up and fighting onwards, of allowing her to live on through his actions, instead he acts like it never happened. She died so that he wouldn't be bound to her, and that certainly did happen, but nothing good came of it. Yoshida Shoyo was first introduced in the Red Spider arc, and that's for good reason. As in this arc, where we meet the image of a perfect teacher, of someone who is caring, loving, and understands what it means to protect better than anyone in the series bar Gintoki himself, we also meet a teacher who hurt his own student, who showed no emotions of care, and who didn't understand what it meant to protect, not one single bit. Gintoki knew Shoyo and was taught by him, and so he knew what a teacher should be. And so when he met Jiraia and saw his relationship with Tsukuyo, he could firmly say that he had no right to call himself her master, and that he was not worthy of calling her a student. As even if you betray your lord or your comrades, you never betray your student. A teacher first and foremost shoulders the pain of their student alongside them, but Jiraia, someone who threw away everything, was too light to shoulder anything. A small girl with a small back could shoulder more than he ever could, and so as he is dying, that small girl shoulders his burden, as she is better than him in every way. She is stronger than him in every way, as unlike him, she understands that having friends, having a place to call home, and being yourself is not weak, and that running away is. And unlike him, she is strong enough to face pain and hardship head on, and not run away from it like a coward. Some people question Jiraiya's final plan to have Tsukuyo kill him. They say it doesn't make sense or line up with his philosophy, but it does. Jiraia just didn't want to lose anyone ever again, so he made it that he had no one by severing his own identity, but even so, despite his best efforts, he made one more connection. And so to ensure that he wouldn't have to bear losing her, to make sure he could protect her until his last breath, he made himself her enemy. He wanted her to kill him, so that as he took his last breath, he would know 100% that she was still alive, and that she is strong enough to kill her own master. He grew tired of life, as a life without connection is hardly even living. So at the last of his life, he made sure that his one connection stayed strong. Jiraia, like many of Gintama's antagonists, preached something that not only goes against the main teachings and themes of the series, but is also completely flawed. He is a tragic character, no one can deny that. But he is also a cowardly character, someone who would put the one person he cares for through the hardship of killing their own master just so he wouldn't have to grieve again. Someone who will sacrifice even the most precious of things just to feel a little bit better, without any thoughts to the memories, to the people, to the precious things he threw away. Even after apologising to Tsukuyo, he had no right to call himself her master. Instead, it was up to her to decide whether she calls herself his student. The importance of a master is one of the key themes of not only the Red Spider arc, but the series as a whole, and Jiraia shows what a master shouldn't be. Someone who prioritises themselves over their student, and someone who is too cowardly to face grief head on, and so runs away trampling over the memories of those who are already gone. Gintoki's interactions with Jiraia really just make this all so clear. Gintoki failed to protect his own master, but even so allowed him to live on for his actions, and Jiraia failed to protect his own student, running away from the feelings and forgetting the dead. They are both cowards, and so the whole point of Jiraiya's philosophy is to protect something without involving yourself, of protecting without the need for feelings. But it's honestly a joke, as at the end of the day, all Jiraia is doing by living like this is protecting himself. Comment of the week comes from Killy Monster, and I'm so glad my passion for Monogatari really gets across in the video. If you are interested in my literary endeavours, why not check out my books Gang Fluid Justice and People of Fate Volume 1, available at Amazon.com. And if you want to help support this channel even further, then consider pledging to my Patreon, where for as little as £2.75 a month, you can get your name at the end of the video like Hikari Desu, 7SO and Smokey McBobby. So with all that said and done, I've been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I'm signing out. Stay safe, everyone.